In today's video, I'm going to build a Space Marine and Krieg diorama, enter it into a competition, win the competition, and spend all the prize money on more grey plastic. That I probably won't paint. There is some prize money, isn't there? With my bins raided and a lot of trash collected and all the tuna tins washed out, can you smell fish? I'm ready to start the build. Let's start gluing some of this in place. It was at this point I started to worry that this was looking a little bit like Johnny Five from the film Short Circuit. But let's plow on and see where we go. So with a rough structure in place, we can stand back and admire all my good work so far. Hold on a minute, the back here looks a lot better than the front. It actually looks a little bit like something from Warhammer 40,000. Maybe even my favourite miniatures. Maybe even the Death Corps of Krieg. I think we might have to reset this one. With the tuna tins removed and the smell of fish now gone, and the pipes repositioned into a better place, it's time for, you guessed it, toilet rolls. With plenty of PVA and a little bit of water mixed in, all this can be glued in place. For the helmet, I'm going to use an egg box. It's probably not the most bulletproof, but hey, maybe that's how he died. Once the filler is rock solid and dry, we can start gluing a bit more trash into place. Old computer cables, bits of sprue, cork, anything I can lay my hands on. One of the rules of this competition is 50%, or at least 50% of the build, must be made from recycled materials, so every little bit counts. A rule that's actually written in law, so it's law, not a rule, is every diorama must have at least one skull, so let's add some. For the steel beams, I'm using some old food containers and cutting them up, and I hope at least when painted, they'll look like some rusted metal. The lenses are pretty tricky. I wasn't too sure what to do for these. I could try cutting up some glass and probably cutting up my fingers at the same time. I could even try painting a glass effect on some plastic, but hey, we know I can't do that. And with the lenses sorted, we can now leave this overnight to dry. With the need for speed or priority on this build, I'm going to try something a little bit different. We're going to start with a standard black undercoat and then highlight with white. And then we're going to mix in some other colours using some rattle cans. Some greens, some reds, some silvers. Hopefully this will save me some painting further down the line. And with the smell of paint fumes still strong in the air, it's time to move this back inside and begin with the brushwork. For base colours, we're going to use washes and some watered down cheap paint. And on the odd occasion, some contrast paints. Whilst the paint's drying, we can work on some extra details. Doing a little bit of research online, I noticed that all the Kriegs helmet have this emblem on them, or logo, which I think is something to do with the Imperium of Man. So we'll make our own version. Again, not trying to cut off my own fingers, I'm going to use some plastic from an old food container, sketch out a rough shape and cut this one out. With a bit of paint and a bit of weathering, I think this will do the trick. With the base coats and washes all dry, we can now start working on some extra details. There's quite a lot of model to paint here, but there's nothing for it. We just got to strap in, nod on, and get on with it. In truth, this egg box helmet is still looking a bit, well, egg boxy, so we'll add a few more washes and a bit more paint. Whilst we got this out, we'll go around the rest of the diorama and pick out a few more details. Okay, let's put all that aside and work on some miniatures. So raiding my old bits box, I've dug out some old Necrons. I can cut these up, give them a bit of a wash, and place them around the miniature for a bit of extra detail. For the Space Marines themselves, I'm going to use these Horus Heresy models. I bought a box of these back when the whole thing was released. As always, I painted one or two of them and put it to one side. So this is a good use for them. We're not looking for a golden demon on this paint job. We're going to be using contrast paints and dry brushing. And I think with a general look of this diorama, it'll all fit in quite well. The whole idea of this build was to play with scale and actually have a giant Krieg mask and have some miniatures exploring it. Why it's that big, I don't know. It's one for the lore, but it's 40,000 years in the future, so God knows what's going to happen. With the base coats and washes all dry, we can now start working on some extra details. And that means dry brushing. Do you know, I'm pretty happy with these lenses. I think they work quite well. You haven't got to paint everything when building. You can just throw it on. With all the painting done, all we've got to do is put the miniatures in place and enter the competition. Just waiting to hear back now, but Do you know, I've not entered many competitions in the past, and it is something I would recommend. There's nothing like an impending deadline to help focus the mind and push a project right through to the end. But, oh, results are in. Gold envelope. I'll just help you with that one.